This episode of Film That Resonates Today from the 1950s. This is exploring humanity through sci-fi. This rebrand continues my mission to get a better understanding of ourselves through sci-fi, fantasy, horror, and comics as our mode of exploration. In 1951, The Day the Earth Stood Still was released, and even today, the film's message goes beyond a popular phrase from the movie. The film stars Michael Rennie as Klaatu, an alien who visits Earth with an offer or a warning, depending on the path we choose to follow. I'll look at the message, the famous phrase, how the movie was made, and its legacies in a moment. More on The Day the Earth Stood Still in just a moment. Producer Julian Blaustein set out to make Farewell to the Master, based on the short story by Harry Bates. He hired Edmund North to write the screenplay. Sci-Fi writer Raymond Jones was uncredited in advising about the film. In the pivotal role of Klaatu, actor Michael Rennie was cast. Rennie's perfect accent for Klaatu sounded familiar, but also very different. I like his gesture at the end of the movie when he bids farewell in a different way than we're used to seeing. I appreciated that. Patricia Neal was cast as single mother Helen Benson, whose husband was killed in battle. Other notable actors included Sam Jaffe as Professor Barnhart, Hugh Marlowe, who was Helen's soon-to-be ex-boyfriend, Billy Gray as Helen's son. Gray, of course, is also known for his role in Father Knows Best. An usher at Grauman's Chinese Theater, Lock Martin, who was 7 feet tall, was cast to be Gort in certain scenes. And if you blink, you'll miss Stuart Whitman, who guarded Klaatu's ship. The sets were designed by Thomas Little and Claude Carpenter. If the spaceship interior has a familiar look, it's because Frank Lloyd Wright collaborated on its design. Paul Laffoley suggested the futuristic interior, drawing inspiration from Frank Lloyd Wright's Johnson Wax headquarters. Astrophysicist Samuel Herrick developed the equations on the blackboard of Professor Barnhart. Herrick reasoned that an equation related to celestial mechanics would be most appropriate, specifically an equation related to his own work in the three-body problem in astronavigation. The film was shot on 20th Century Fox soundstages and its Century City backlot. Second unit shooting was done in Washington, D.C., and Fort George Meade in Maryland. Robert Wise was the director and relayed a story that the Department of Defense declined to participate upon reading the script. But despite that, military equipment was supplied from Fort Meade. Robert Wise on the DVD commentary noted that his aim for realism and believability as much as possible to push the armed conflict theme. Producer Blaustein also wanted a strong UN to echo in the film. Klaatu springs back to life. A film censor objected to Klaatu's resurrection, so a line was rewritten in the script. When Klaatu is revived after being shot, he said in the rewritten line, "That power is reserved to the Almighty Spirit," keeping things very subliminal. Klaatu Barada Nikto. That phrase, now a part of pop culture, can be found in fiction too. The Robot Hall of Fame says it's one of the most famous commands in science fiction. Frederick Clark of Cinema Fantastique called it the most famous phrase ever spoken by an extraterrestrial. But for Patricia Neal, it was hard for her to speak that famous line. But she cited that she thought it was the best science fiction film ever made, although she did have to contain her laughter on set, much to the chagrin of Michael Rennie. Screenwriter Edmund North created the language for the film. Since no translation is ever given, there are a lot of speculations on what was said to Gort. Professor Ian Scoble thinks it was a safe word, used in diplomatic meetings from Gort and Klaatu. Scoble said that it is a theme in SF that machines are charged with protecting us from ourselves. Fantastic Film speculated in its article, The Language of Klaatu, that it fully translates to "Stop barbarism, I have death and bind." And the free translation is, "I die, repair me, do not retaliate." Edmund North supposedly told Robert Wise, "Well, it's just something I cooked up. I thought it sounded good." An interesting note, if true, had Florence Blaustein, widow of producer Julian Blaustein, that Edmund North passed a street every day going to work called Barada. The film was adapted as a radio play in 1954 for Lux Radio Theater. Michael Rennie was once more Klaatu, and Jean Peters was Mrs. Benson. In 2008, you probably saw the Keanu Reeves version in theaters or on television. Reeves' Klaatu had a different mission: to save the Earth from mankind by destroying humans. Or, if humans changed their ways and go green, they would be spared. The original film was preserved by the Library of Congress National Film Registry. In 2001, the American Film Institute ranked it as number 82 in AFI's 100 Years, 100 Thrills. It also made the top 10 in 10 classic film genres. The New York Times cited it as one of the best 1,000 films ever made. Heck, Ringo Starr used it in one of his covers for one of his albums, Goodnight Vienna. If you look closely, the film playing in the background of Star Trek Strange New Worlds' first episode is The Day the Earth Stood Still. Critically, it holds a 97% score on Rotten Tomatoes. So what is the main message? Klaatu warns us about our petty squabbles, and if we take those battles off-world, there will be a price. That hit home with me. Most times we fight over resources, boundaries, and even religion here on Earth. In the scheme of things, that sounds petty. We can sometimes frame those reasons as noble causes, but are they really? A real threat to freedom and existence, like in World War II, is a totally different matter. The film is cautionary, but its lesson is yet to be learned. This November on Sci-Fi Talk Plus, original programming in the form of podcasts and videos will be available. Several new shows have been created, like Paranormal, which will feature 2 interviews per episode. In the works, episodes grouped by subject matter. A look at AI coming up that I'm working on that'll dictate how AI is affecting us right now and how it will help us maybe evolve in the future. As always, subscriber downloads will dictate and help create content. Video trailers and behind-the-curtain episodes featuring interviews, clips, and behind-the-scenes footage provided by the movie and TV studios, but they're edited by me for Plus. The 1-year free trial is still in effect, with the $1.99 price frozen in time after the trial is over. Listen and watch on your desktop, laptop, or phone. You can take it anywhere, and you get a private RSS feed, and you can listen on players like Apple Podcasts and Spotify, just to name a few. Click on the link in the show notes to start your free 1-year trial today. Keep watching the skies. This is Tony Tolato.